Hey, a lot of people have gotten deals after their VladTV interview. You know,
Facts.
once I do
You
what
hear
I
that
do,
story?
you hear the story and you see, and you know, sometimes the interview will cause a big social media uproar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that dude Glokknine.
So I know if I fuck with a black bitch, we gonna have a black ass baby.
So?
I ain't with that.
Why?
I'm already black as fuck.
So?
I can't. No.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting thing. You know, I mean, like, so if you have a baby, you don't want your baby to be the same complexion as you?
Mm.
Why?
This a once in a lifetime thing.
What do you mean?
Like, this a dark ass shade. They be hell nah. I can't have.
He got signed to Cash Money right afterwards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a horrible example.
It's a horrible example. It's a horrible example, but
That's not the reason why we should be signing people because of those statements.
But you know something? I bet you that because once that interview came out, it was like on Shade Room, a baller alert, and this and that, and he responded, and people were bashing him, whatever else.
Did he ever say that? Did he change his statement on
No.
that? He still feels the same way?
He said, "Y'all don't know what it's like to be my complexion, so y'all can't tell me what I've been through and what I should feel."
Wow.
The end. He's stuck by his guns, which is sad. And the reason I put it out was to kind of expose that dialogue.
Right.
Because, you know, it seems like black families have been saying shit like that behind closed doors for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these have been hush-hush kind of conversations.
Right.
I sort of exposed it to
Nah,
everybody.
you did. I mean, and it was good that you put that out there because it created great dialogue. We got to discuss it.
Yeah.
I pray for the brother, you know what I mean? Like, because I understand the pain that he's talking about. I do know what he's talking about. But again, to use these type of platforms to speak and say things without fully thinking them all the way through, he doesn't know that how much damage he's doing to the sisters in his community by saying that. So
it's also fresh off the block.
Yeah.
This is not someone with media training or has really traveled a lot outside of.
He was speaking his truth. Salute to my guy for speaking his truth.
Well, because you know I interviewed Bill Duke.
Right.
And he talked about
my first day in kindergarten. I was called nigger and blackie. I remember coming home crying and went to the bathroom and tried to take, they used to have Babo cleanser at those days and wipe the black off of my skin. I thought maybe if I could do that and people would love me more, and then I was gonna drink some bleach in the bathroom. My mother came in just in time, and because I thought the bleach would whiten me. And I was like, I was 7 or 8 years old. I didn't know any better.
Wow.
That's how serious it was. And he talked about how
colorism is real, man.
Man, and you know, to hear that firsthand, and you know, and we started talking, and I'm like, okay, let me start putting some of these numbers together, because he's like 74 years old, right? I'm like, you were like 12 when Emmett Till happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you have, you know, did you have living relatives who were slaves? He goes, my great-grandparents were slaves.
Wow.
And it's like, and he talked about how he hated white people.
Right.
Hated them. Until he got to school and he had some experiences with some white teachers.
Right.
That made him rethink everything.
Yeah, and I mean, that happens in our community, man. Like, obviously there's reason for even going that far back, but.
Did you ever hate white people?
I definitely despise that entire community as a whole. And it's funny, in one of my stand-up bits, I always say, when I talk about white people, I'm not talking about y'all my friends. But I was like, when I talk about white, I'm talking about the idea, the establishment of white. James Baldwin said it the best. James Baldwin says, white is just the example and the synonym for elitist society. And I kind of made an acronym out of it. I was like, white is when having inheritance to everything. It's just that idea of I'm more powerful than you. I control you. I hate, to this day, I hate that establishment. Yeah. I hate that establishment of that hierarchy, this idea of this caste system that my community was brought into involuntarily. and then pressured to succeed. And if you don't, we're gonna lock you back in the cage. That's still our system today. So when I have no hate for any individual on this planet, but there are certain systems that I just despise that are set up because they're set up in a hateful way. So that's what I was gonna say. Growing up, man, like not only are you taught to dislike, but you are taught to fear them in a way. You're taught to be like that idea. I mean, growing up in the South, growing up in North Carolina, South Carolina, they tell you, don't look a white person in the eye. You know what I mean? You walking on the street, you gotta,
No, he actually talked about it. He said that his parents,
when they were going to church on a Sunday, say it was raining, and say they were on the sidewalk. If a white family came their direction, in the opposite direction, they had to step into the mud and bow their heads until the white family passed, then get back on the sidewalk and walk to church. And every time a white family passed toward them, they had to step into the mud and bow their heads.
Man, I was even as coming up.
that's his parents. That's
Yeah.
not a book or
Yeah.
or something that he read somewhere.
No, it was like that in South Carolina where I came up, in North Carolina. Like it was things like you didn't speak to a white person unless they spoke to you first. You know what I'm saying? Like unless they said hello and then you're like, yes sir, yes ma'am. Like it was just that's just, and it wasn't like that's just the culture. Like you put on differently, or you almost have to be, don't be acting that way when white folks is around, making us look like bad in front of these white folks. Like it was it was always that mentality of like, you had to be on your best behavior when white people were around. And that is just innately just in our family, just in our makeup of you can't be yourself when Caucasians are amongst you. And just that idea in itself, you fear that. You don't understand it, so then you start not to like it. So, and then when you see all the oppression that comes with it, like this was before even understanding what racism was. This was just like, oh, those people are better than me. Like it's taught to me that I'm not as good as them because of their complexion.